Tibajiba Damo Nujunto do Marsha Kasu Papa Inchi. Good evening. I'm very pleased to have all of you here tonight. And I was thinking like this 1 month, what kind of teaching that I should share with all of you. And I thought maybe 7 points of mind training would be one of the best for all of us. And I thought this would be the best, so I decided to share with you this time. To go back a little bit, I received this teaching like almost 30 years ago. Almost sounds like 1 century. About 30 years ago from Khenjin Chodatempa Rinpoche, whom I followed like almost 9 years. Under him, I studied a lot. And about 5-6 years ago, and I taught this in Asia, in many parts of Asia. Hopefully I will remember all. The reason why I want to share with you this teaching is because it's kind of eye-opener to myself, and hopefully it may be same to you. As you know, wherever you go, you will see a mirror. Everybody likes to keep mirror because every morning when we wake up, we like to look at the mirror, how we look. If there is something wrong, we try to fix it. Sometimes I have to fix everything. So similarly, this is a book, the teaching from Kadampa's masters, especially from Atisha, to reflect yourself and to see yourself how I look like internally, not just outer appearances, but internally. You're looking inside. This is where we can find the many answers that are hidden. I think it's very important to look at yourself and try to know yourself better. We may think that I know very well who I am, but in fact, we don't really know. And one of the serious problems with us is that even though maybe there are so many faults that we have, we always tend to point other people's faults rather than your own fault. And if your faults are hidden, and then you will never find true happiness. You will never see the true light of life, beautiful life. And I find myself this teaching very meaningful in my life, and hopefully this will be same to you. And this is one of the reasons that why I want to share with you. I have compiled a book a long time back. I will like to give it to you and see if it's not enough. It's coming very soon. And this is the book that when I was sharing my thoughts with some of the students in Asia, and they wanted a book so that they can reflect, they can review what they have learned. So we have the book here. Now, before we begin with the actual discussion, it is very important also to know the lineage of this teaching, because there are many reasons. There are many reasons, because once you learn the lineage, then it will give you a certain degree of satisfaction, confidence, and sort of faith into your path, the path that you're following. Because these days, on the one hand, I may say we are very lucky that there are so many books that we can read. Everywhere we can find bookshop, and you can read from the internet, from everywhere. But other hand, I would say we are also very unlucky, because most of the time we read all the books which are not meaningful in our life. Sometimes could be destructive to our spiritual growth. So when you know the lineage, that proves that okay, this teaching comes from this lineage, and this lineage has so many teachers who have highly accomplished by following this path. So it is very important as a practitioner to follow the right path. And if you follow the wrong path, then you may put so much effort in life. At the end of the day, then if you realize that what you have, the amount of time you have invested is fully wasted, that is very sad. You know, it's very sad for as a practitioner. Now, you know, Kadampa is one of the very famous lineage that, of course, established in India, then was brought to Tibet by Atisha, and also, you know, this teaching is very much related to Zurmang tradition. Later we will discuss more about this link. You know, Atisha, he was a very, you know, he born in a noble family, and very since very young age, he, you know, had many visions from Tara and many other deities, and then eventually, you know, he met so many teachers, and everybody pointed into him that love and compassion, bodhicitta, and especially exchanging oneself for others is the essence of all the teachings of Buddha. Like there are stories, you know, like when he went to visit, you know, Bodh Gaya, and you know, inside this main temple, he saw some dakinis, you know, that appear like in form of ladies, you know. They start talking to each other. One of them were asking, okay, if I want to become Buddha, what I should do, you know? Otherwise replying, oh, if you want to become a Buddha, you need to practice love and compassion, and such as bodhicitta, then only you will become a Buddha. So there are such many stories, you know. So in fact, he followed many teachers, like for instance, Selingpa. I will relate to this story also. He is known as the keeper of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta literally means like, it is a combination of love and compassion. It's much in the stronger sense. And there was another teacher called Dhammarakshita. You know, he was so compassionate. He realized emptiness by giving love and compassion, by giving his own flesh to someone. You know, there was a story one time. You know, one person was very sick, and then, you know, doctor said that if this, you know, he will be only recover from the sickness unless somebody gives him a flesh, human flesh. Sounds a bit crazy, but that's what the story is, you know. The story says. So without any hesitation, he cut a piece of his flesh and give to this sick person. So he was totally recovered. So from there are many other instances where through his compassion, love and compassion, he realized emptiness. And then there's another one called Yogin Maitreya, from who is like again known for his the practice of exchanging oneself for others, who is fully realized. And of course, Selingpa. Selingpa is known as Chandrakirti. Yeah? Selingpa is. You know the person who built Borobudur Stupa, who known as Selingpa, but actually he's from Sumatra Island. His main place is called Jambi. They found a stupa like 3 times larger than Borobudur. So, you know, next time if you go to Indonesia, you can pay a visit. And he's known for his love and compassion, especially in bodhicitta. So Atisha met so many teachers. And then when he heard the name of Selingpa, he was like so he had so much of devotion. Then he was like somehow wanted to go and visit and study under this teacher. And Tara also gave a sort of vision saying that you should go and meet Selingpa. So he traveled to Indonesia 12 months to reach Indonesia. You see, today, even if you provide everything to students, but then still many people find it very difficult to practice, even though they have all these facilities. But olden days, like gurus, they go so far to receive teaching. And imagine going to Indonesia and traveling 12 years. It's a long time, It's a long time. So then eventually he met Selingpa. And Selingpa said, okay, Selingpa recognized Atisha as a very special person. And of course, Atisha knew Selingpa was a highly accomplished teacher. So Selingpa said to him, if you are willing to stay 12 years with me, then I will teach you Bodhichitta. And then he spent almost 18 years with him. Then he became a fully realized through practice of love and compassion that leads to realization Bodhichitta. So he came back to India. And at the time, what was happening was during I think it was in around 11th century, Tibet was going through a very difficult time. There was a king called Langdharma. He's known as evil king because he almost destroyed Buddhism, almost to nothing. Buddhism was flourishing so much, and during his rule, Buddhism was almost totally destroyed. And then La Lama, I think La Lama, I think the king called Yishiwe, I think king called Yishiwe is the one who was known as the Dharma king. So he wanted to revive this Buddhism again in Tibet. And there was a well-known translator known as Rinchen Sampo, who was a translator. So there are many of them were sent to India, to invite many gurus. So they met with Atisha, So, and then Atisha decided to go to Tibet. Then he was not sure. And then he met, Tara again predicted. If you go to Bodh Gaya, before you enter the stupa, the main stupa, on the left side, there's a small, shrine room. Inside you go in, there's a Tara statue. That is the statue that have spoken to Atisha that you should go to Tibet. You will be great help to Tibetan. So he decided to go to Tibet. And then, and when Atisha arrived Tibet, I think 1042. This one.
Okay.
Yeah. So when he arrived, there was almost none. There was no Buddhism almost disappeared. So then Atisha wanted to build foundation from the ground. So he first started teaching Refuge and about love and compassion. And so much only Refuge and love and compassion. And people, they want always profound, something very sacred, something very profound. So they start getting bored. So they gave him a nickname called Refuge Guru. So Atisha somehow received the name called Refuge Guru. But then Atisha kept teaching love and compassion, to all this student. And then finally, Atisha started to teach about love and compassion, bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. And the Buddhism was slowly risen from ashes. There was almost nothing, And then he had many gurus, students from Tibet, such as Ngok Lek Peshera, Khotun Chundun, Drom Tempa Jalvi Juni. These are all his disciple. And among these three, his heir was someone after Atisha leaves Tibet. Of course, he attained parinirvana in Tibet. His student, known as Domtempa Jayujungni, he's the one who became the heir of Atisha. Then he had this three students known as Putowa, Puchungwa, and Chengawa. Anyway, when you have the book, you will know all these names. I know it's difficult to remember all this name, yeah. And these were his student, and the lineage that came from Atisha. Atisha was holding three different lineages. The lineage of profound philosophy, the lineage of vast activities, and the lineage of blessings. And this is also called, like for instance, known as the lineage of the six conical texts, which belongs to Putowa, and this has three different sections. It teaches about how to develop devotion to teacher, and then also teaches how to meditate and how to follow the conduct in this lineage. And this lineage is mainly known as a study lineage. So you may call it profound lineage or lineage of six conical texts. Then the lineage of vast activities is known also the lineage of key instruction on four truth. Okay, so this lineage was conducted by Chikawa, and in this lineage, the main practice is practice is lineage of contemplation based on sutras. So the earlier lineage, the lineage known as the profound lineage of vast, profound lineage of philosophy, is presently kept and hold by Gelugpa tradition, Gedenpa tradition. We may call it Gedenpa or Gelugpa. And the second lineage is mainly held by Kagyu lineage. And there is another called, as I said earlier, mentioned earlier, the blessing lineage, or you may call it the lineage of Pete instruction on the 16 essence. Both Kagyu and other school, they practice together. So this is the this lineage that comes from Atisha. And this lineage is mainly a Sutrayana tradition, but also somehow it has the certain Tantriyana teachings are also involved. So the practice is like love and compassion and emptiness and bodhicitta. So when we go through all this teaching, the main emphasis, the actual main practice is exchanging oneself to others, for others. So you may have 7 different points, but this is the main that like branches out. Other teachings are branches out from this main discussion. Now, okay, and then now, who is the one who compiled these 7 points of mind training? His name is Chikawa. Chikawa. He was not a Kadampa teacher. He was just an ordinary person. And one day he was invited to a friend, and then he was there. And what happened was when he was there and he met his friend, and then he saw a word, 2 verses. It's not give all victory to others, take defeat for yourself. Give all victory to others, take defeat for yourself. there was two verses on the table. So when he read that word, he find it so strange. What's this? What's this? Because since we are trained to take victory for yourself and you should defeat others, and this is totally opposite, And at his time, he think it's strange, but then today, if you share this to others, people think you're not right, you're right, or there's something wrong with you, or they may even advise you to go see doctor. Yeah, so that's what happened. So he find it very strange, when he heard this. Actually, then what he realized was these verses came from 8 verses by Langri Tangpa. Verses came from Langri Tangpa. So he was so curious, I never had such a crazy verses, I must meet this guru, there's something that I can learn from him, So he was looking for him. Unfortunately, when he went there, this guru already passed away. So, fortunately, he able to meet Sarawa. There's another Kadampa master who was there, and under him, I think he studied about 12 years. And then he received all this teaching. And the request of Sarawa, Chikawa, he compiled the 8 verses into 7 points of mind training. And this is the one that we are discussing, I'm sharing with you. And actually, the name of this book is known as The Great Path of Awakening, the commentary, and by Jamgon Kongtrul, the first Jamgon Kongtrul, and he was one of the highly accomplished guru in Kagyu lineage, and he's also known as a non-sectarian. Everybody respect him as a highly accomplished guru. He's the one who wrote a commentary on this based on this teaching, and this is the teaching that I would like to share with you, and hopefully it will be very beneficial for you. And what I would like to say here is, it's not about just knowing. The important is that we must try to practice. That's the way we can see the differences. You may find many people, I practice this, I practice that. But can you see the changes on these people? If you can't find any changes, that means you are not practicing at all. So there are many people who may learn about Buddha Dharma, but there are a few who really practice. And if you want to see changes, progress in you spiritually, then you need to practice. And if you practice, definitely you will see the changes. And you may say this is the super highway for all of us. This is a super highway for all the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, and should be same for us. And we can travel through this highway, and eventually we can become Buddha's sake of all others. Yeah. So I'd like to go through this text. Yeah, I think I have more or less covered everything. Okay, now there are this is a kind of layout, when we begin with this discussion. This text gives 2 different kinds of layout. There's a layout, like three main points. The source of this teaching that I have just discussed with you, and then Ji Godens means the general purpose of this discussion that more or less I have discussed with you. What this says is compared to other realm, other beings like hungry ghosts, animal, or we are very fortunate. Human beings are very fortunate. but then doesn't mean that we are always happy. Okay, so we have so much that we have to go through every day, you know. And if you really look within yourself, there is more suffering than happiness every day, you know. And this is also because we are in the place called samsara. Samsara literally means the cycle of rebirth, old age, sickness, and death, you know. So there are so many things happening every day in our life, and unless we abandon the source of all this suffering, which is mainly attachment to self. And this is the teaching is trying to address the main critical point, which is attachment to self. As long as we have an attachment to self, then we have all the problem. But this doesn't mean that we have to hate ourselves. That is again totally wrong. You know, it doesn't mean that, oh, I'm the problem, that I should like hate myself. You know, that would be like unwise. It doesn't mean that at all. But attachment is the problem, and this is the teaching help us how to free ourselves from this attachment by practicing love and compassion and emptiness and bodhicitta, or mainly exchanging oneself to others for others. So that's what we're going to focus on. So what this teaching says, yeah. This is the main discussion, and also maybe I should like to say briefly, in this lineage, they believe in four deities and 3 teaching. They believe on this system. They call it 7 dharma. Buddha Shakyamuni is the first, Avalokiteshvara second, Tara third, and there's another one called Akula or Meowa, which is known as the destroyer of illusion. Okay, and there are and the 3 disciplines which adorn our speech, which are Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidharma. That's what this Kadamba master believes. And the 7th point, that's what we're going to discuss. Probably we may finish 1 or 2 points, I'm not sure, but I will try to go as much as possible, but we will try to finish everything. Probably we may take our 4 or 5 sessions. Yeah, 4 or 5. So are you okay so far? Are you clear? So I will just continue, yeah? Later, if you have a question, you can let me know. So, 7 points of mind training. The first is training in preliminaries. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of that practice, before I can engage myself fully, what kind of preparation that I need to do, prepare myself, you know? What do you call that in...
preliminary.
Huh?
Preliminary practice.
What's that?
Mondo Mare.
Preliminary. In English, prerequisite. Prerequisite. Yeah, like something like prerequisite to practice 7 points of mind training. So that we will discuss in detail. And the main practice is training in bodhicitta, how to develop bodhicitta. Of course, love and compassion, emptiness. Love and compassion is part of relative bodhicitta, and emptiness is a part of ultimate bodhicitta. Anyway, we will try to go into detail. And the third part is transformation of adverse condition onto the path. Transformation of adverse conditions onto the path. This is a very important practice. That whatever that adverse condition that you come across every day, there are so many adverse conditions that we will come across every day. So this is the way that all these adverse conditions, instead of hating them, trying to rejecting them, but you can make good use of it in a skillful ways, you know. And if you're skillful enough, any adverse condition, one can be very useful in our daily life. For instance, poison is generally known as something negative because it takes away a life. But then if someone knows how to use poison, poison can be a very good medicine. This depends on how we use. Yeah? So this is a training. We train ourselves even when we have a bad day. We make today I have a bad day. So how to make this bad day into a good, meaningful day? That's what we like. That's the third condition. And the fourth one is called utilization of practice in daily life. It's like how we practice in our whole life. You may learn so many things. But then if you do not put into practice, it's not going to help us. So whatever you learn, you try to put into your practice, then it becomes more helpful and meaningful. Dharma is not about just learning. And you may have on the academic side, but on the practical side, we need to learn, not just learn, but we have to put into practice. That means that you have to become an actor. You may call someone a good actor when he or she is able to follow the character according to the particular person. So similarly, if I say like a good practitioner is someone who is able to imitate like Buddha and Bodhisattvas, or someone like Kadamba masters who is able to imitate and like whatever he or she does in life, it becomes a part of practice. So you don't have to separate what you learn, what you practice. So if you can merge together, then even like just raising an arm could be beneficial. Drinking a cup of coffee could be beneficial. I know all of you like Starbucks. So like when you drink cup of coffee, you should think, okay, when I fulfill my thirst, then I'm going to help others. This is also a good way to begin. Yeah. But I tried coffee. I don't like it because it was so bitter for me. When I was last time when we had to go for what do you call that? Study trip. Yeah. So our teacher brought us to Starbucks. So everybody was drinking Starbucks coffee. I tried one. It looks delicious because everybody was enjoying. But when I bought one and tried to drink one, it was like so bad for me. But anyway, so this is important. And then this is called the boundary, lojong be che. So how I will know that I have like reached this stage, or sign that practice of mindful exchanging oneself to other that I have accomplished. Yeah. And there are also, there's the point number 5, and the 6th is there are also precepts or like vows or like rules or that that require when we are applying this practice in our life. And finally the instruction about lojong, how we can progress, how we can improve. So these are the 7 points of mind training. So we will try to go one by one. And so basically there are 7 points, but it has like 59 subjects. This is the main 7 points, but it has a 59 sub points. Try to support the 7 points and make it more meaningful, with all this, and it has also help us to understand better, and it gives us clarity. Now, how many of you here are like, anyone want to share? They can have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's only a few.
So one put a bit black is okay. You can use that. It's okay. I think maybe it's okay. You can get.
I think we can share.
One is okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
We can share.
Yeah, one is. Wow, just nice. Then you'll have it.
Sorry, Rinpoche?
You have?
I have one.
Oh, you can use
I have one,
and you can share. Wow, just enough. Huh?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Wow, perfect. Ali, you have one. Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
yes.
I'm getting more. Okay. Because I'm using this in Tibetan, so maybe a bit different, but it's the same. This is what I've. It's exactly from this from the book. So we have reached probably from page 19. Page 19. Preliminaries, page 17. 17. And start from page 19. Anyway, when you go back, you should reflect yourself. Okay. Now, the first point, which is train in preliminaries. First train in the preliminaries. We begin by training in the preliminaries. Okay? Tambo ngondo dalala. In Tibetan, it's called Tambo ngondo dalala. Talala. Tambo ngondo talala. Okay? So what this says is, before we begin, we have to train in preliminaries, which are very, very important. And now this has again two subtopics. Before we start to practice, what we supposed to think, okay? And then when we practice, what we're supposed to do, okay? And there are two subtopics. And now, as I said earlier, even though this is mainly a Sutrayana teachings, but it has also combined, when it came to Tibet, it has combined with the Tantrayanas. So it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of both. Yeah? And now it's what it says is, because now, let me explain a little bit. In Tantrayana, we call it three roots. Generally in Buddhism, we believe in Buddha, who is like a doctor, Dharma, his like a medicine, his teachings, the path, and Sanghas, the assembly ones, known as the nurse, someone who could help and guide. Okay, this is generally in Buddhism. But when you take refuge from Tantrayana, beside three refuge, we also take refuge from three roots. We call it Tsawaso. The root of blessing is Guru. So like we always have to ask for gurus. So sometimes not necessarily Guru is a Buddha, but there's always saying that you should see Guru as a Buddha. There's a saying that if you see Guru as a Buddha, then you have a blessing of Buddha. And if you have a Guru, you see Guru as a friend, then you have a blessing of friend. And therefore Guru is considered one of the very important ones. And of course, I also have a book that how to look Guru, how to look for a Guru. I'm saying you may have a Guru means teacher. You may have many teachers, but the root Guru is just one. And then when you learn something, you should always learn about the person first. Doesn't matter who. You have to learn, try to get all the background about this person. And once you follow, then you have to follow wholeheartedly. Once you're in, you don't try to come out, Okay? So before you get into, before you go into, ask somebody as, make somebody as your teacher, guru, you have to be really, fussy. Is it called fussy? Fussy, like you have to really try to learn about him or her. So once you accept, it's a done deal. You have already signed the agreement. There's no turning back. But somehow because to know human being is very difficult. Sometimes you living with somebody 10 years, you may not know the real character of the person. So when you realize, he or she is not the wrong one, don't criticize. Just leave it alone. And then you follow your own way. So Guru, especially the root Guru, is very, very important. Root Guru, so you only have one root Guru, but you can have many Gurus, yeah? So this call. Okay, then there's a Yidam. You may take Tara, Avalokiteshvara, Goddess of Mercy. There are so many deities in Tibetan, in Buddhism. They are the source of accomplishment. their temporary accomplishment is to like prolong life, acquire wisdom, blessing, all this, there are 8 ordinary accomplishments, and the ultimate accomplishment is to attain liberation. Okay, and then finally we take refuge from protector. They are known as the root of activities, like they are the bodyguard. Not protect us physically, but protect us from mental harms. There are so many like negative emotions such as anger, jealousy. All this affects our mind. So these are the protector to protect internally from all these forces. That you have, you're clear. So what you practice in life becomes successful. So these are known as the 3 protector. So now even here, when you combine with the Tantra, it begins with the before you begin your practice, there is a practice of Guru Yoga. So that what it says here is, you visualize Guru sitting on the lotus and moon disc. This, we call it this. I don't know how you measure this in English.
1 arm.
Huh? What is the measurement?
1 feet.
Huh?
1 foot.
1 foot, is it?
No. More than
More.
2
count.
Yeah, one,
Yeah, 2 count.
1 forearm span.
Yeah, like normally this high. Anything you visualize on the crown, this will be this high, on your crown.
Mm-hmm.
So Guru is sitting, looking graceful and full of compassion. And then and it's like he or her compassion is like spreading all over the places, received by all the other whoever is praying to him or her, and who's laughing with all the qualities of Buddha and Bodhisattva, and especially who is very compassionate, who's sitting on your crown. Okay, and then what you have to say from your heart is, Guru, please bless me. The reason why you need blessing is like so that I may able to give rise to or give birth to loving compassion and bodhicitta in my heart. You're not asking blessing so that I'm happy or I will meet someone beautiful or handsome or or I'll be lucky. No, here you're asking for blessing so that I can give birth to love and compassion and bodhicitta, the mind of awakened one. Okay, and once you pray from your heart as many as possible, and then so Guru enters from your crown and reside inside your heart. So your heart become like when you split the egg in a half, facing upward. So Guru is sitting inside your heart, all the time. So Guru is blessing you all the time. That's what all these Kadampa teachers, especially in Tantra, these are very, very important. Very, very important. Before we begin to practice. So when you come to the main practice, it's about 4 ordinary foundation. Okay, the book it tells you everything. You can read about 4 ordinary foundation. What this means is like it explains about precious human body, impermanence, cause and effect of samsara. Because why this is important is this it brings your mind from attachment to from worldly things to to dharma, and also gives us sense of urgency why I need to practice. If I don't know why I need to practice, why it is important, then I don't want to practice. I want to relax myself. Why I have to recite prayer? Why I need to meditate? I will enjoy my life. I will go to watch movie. I will do all my things that I do every day. But then this gives us the reason a good reason and meaningful reason why I need to practice. It gives us sense of urgency. Now, this explains, human body is so precious. And how we acquire human body is by doing good things, such as practicing love and compassion, the mind of awakened one. These are all sorts of merits which gives us a human body. Now, why human body is precious? Not because I look handsome, I'm rich, I'm powerful. No, that's not at all. They are like we call it. You are free from 8 non-free states. You are adorned with 5 circumstantial and 5 personal endowments. And in that, like for instance, you are so lucky. According to strictly Buddhist belief, you are so lucky because you have a chance to meet teachers. And you are so lucky you have a chance to listen to teachings. And you are so lucky that you are not just listening, you are practicing. So when you think this, it's so difficult. And you see there are like over 6 billion people on this planet, and how many of them really practicing? And then there will be, and then you see how many are true practitioners? Not even a handful. So when you compare, so there are very few. This makes our life so precious, human body so precious. And I can at least say that you have a precious human body because according to strictly Buddhist belief, you have met Buddha Dharma, you are practicing Dharma, and most importantly, you have this interest to Dharma and devotion to Dharma. To combine everything together into one person is very hard. So this makes our human body so precious. But then we cannot think, oh, I have now human body, precious body, I'm okay. I will take my time. No. We won't know what will happen tomorrow. We don't know what will happen after this teaching. Life is unpredictable. It's like a summer cloud. It's like a lightning. It's there, this moment, next moment is gone. So nothing is impermanent. Nothing remains forever. Everything is changes. Everything changes by minute, by hour, by days. It changes all the time. So this makes us that, okay, I need to do it now. I cannot, when I'm retired, when I'm free, I will practice. No, practice is something you have to do it now. Okay? Third point explains cause and effect. This means like, I think this is generally believed by everyone, like for instance, if I commit sin, then I have to pay prices. I have to face the consequences. And if I cultivate merits, not even in the Dharma sense, even in our daily life, like if I have work hard, I will earn. If I'm lazy, then I will not earn anything. So similarly in Dharma, if I practice, the more I practice, I'm safe from all this danger. The more sin, or if I commit crime, then I have to face consequences. And today, why some people are very happy, some people are less happy. All this because of the action that you have committed in previous life or this life or even few years back. So we have to be very careful of our act. Finally, the effect of samsara. Once you commit act of non-virtue, then we have to face all the consequences. And we cannot, we won't be spared. So we have to be very careful about our acts. We will face consequences. You will see around that some people are very happy, some people are very unhappy, some people are enjoying their life, some people are so much in pain. This is all because of the consequences of your act. So by knowing all this helps us, okay, I need to be careful and I need to practice now. So this is what the preliminary teachings gives, encourage us or advise us or to practice us. That's what this says, okay? I think we have a time still, 2 more minutes. Okay.
Okay, so I like to go with, okay. Now, so the second part, which is the main one, the main practice is like training in bodhicitta. Training in bodhicitta, yeah. I think it's page 28. Huh? Okay. Okay. Now, actual bodhicitta. There are two parts. One explains about ultimate bodhicitta, just briefly, and more emphasis will be on the relative bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta includes love and compassion, or engaging bodhicitta, or aspirational bodhicitta. Okay. So just let me explain a little bit. Relative bodhicitta has two: engaging or aspirational bodhicitta. So, like for instance, for like us, if I'm not able to really go and help someone, like for instance, I explained earlier, somebody asks for your flash, you can't give it. I can't give it. Yeah, I can't give it now. So I can just say, sorry, I'm just a beginner. I can't give you now. But in my heart, okay, I'm just a beginner. I'm sorry, I can't do this. But next time, when I'm strong, when I'm able, I will definitely do this. It's called aspiration of bodhicitta. When somebody needs your help, physically or you need to really help them, if you can't, you can just, okay, now I'm just a beginner, I can't do this. But next time I will do it, So you have this kind of attitude inside your heart, it's still very beneficial. The moment, Shanti Deva said, the moment you have a bodhicitta, you are not an ordinary person. You already belong to a Buddha family. So okay, Stephen, Buddha family. Yeah? So you become all Buddha family. You are part of Buddha family. You are not ordinary people. And bodhicitta is something. It's so powerful. It's like alkaline. Is it that changes everything into gold either?
Alchemy?
Huh?
Alchemy?
Alchemy.
Alchemy?
Alchemy.
It's
Yeah.
a practice.
Alchemy.
Yeah.
Alchemy. Yeah, I forgot that word. Alchemy. It's something like alchemy. It changes everything into gold. So they say bodhicitta is also so powerful. It's like a fire. That if you throw any paper, anything into the fire, it will burn immediately. So once you have a bodhicitta, any kind of small or ineffective act of non-virtue will be immediately eliminated. And the moment you have a bodhicitta, you don't have to look for a Buddhas somewhere. Buddha will come for looking for you. Like there's a story, Asanga, a student of Maitreya Buddha. He was doing meditation for 12 years. And after 12 years, he couldn't see Maitreya Buddha, and he gave up. He said, okay, I give up. So on the way he came back, on the way he was returning, and then he saw a dog, like half body was totally rotten and eaten by many maggots. Maggots. Maggots, yeah, eaten by maggots. It was eaten, maggots were eating half body. And then he thought suddenly that if I remove all the maggots, he will kill. If I don't remove these maggots, then dog will suffer. So he didn't know what to do. So he closed his eye and he tried to lick the maggots. The moment he, he wanted to lick the maggots, his tongue touched on the floor. And suddenly he opened his eye. Maitreya Buddha was in front of him, And he said, how come I waited for you 12 years and now, you never show up, and today, like, in front of the door, you show why, why you're doing this to me, And then Maitreya Buddha said, I'm always in front of you, and because you didn't have a compassion, you never see me. You could never see me. Otherwise, I'm always in front of you. Then, and then he said that if you don't believe, you should carry on your shoulder and we go to the town and let what people say, So he was carrying a Maitreya Buddha on the shoulder and was walking in the street. And he asked people, can you see what is on my shoulder? He said that there's a dog, almost dying. Everybody said, dog. So nobody could see, Maitreya Buddha. They only saw dog. So he said, I told you, they don't have compassion. So compassion is everything. Compassion, everything. So this is called Aspiration of Bodhichitta. Then there's the engaging Bodhichitta. Engaging, the moment when you are prepared, when you are prepared, then you are able to go, just not mentally, physically go and help others. So you won't have any problem, you don't have any difficulties. That can happen to all of us. When Buddha was still alive, there was a very well-known merchant, one person who was so rich, but he wished to practice giving, but he was so stingy that for him was very difficult to part anything, So, Buddha said, in this case, you should hold just a vegetable first, So you should hold on the right yourself, and the left is other. You just visualize. So first, initially, when he give from right hand to left hand, he feel a little bit of difficulty, because we visualize this someone else. It's like heart beating, it was very uncomfortable. But he tried. So the second time, and after some time, he could give easily without having any difficulty. He felt so relaxed. He didn't find any difficulties, and then he was able to give either way. He didn't find any difficulties. Then slowly he started giving to people. He didn't find any difficulty. Eventually he became one of the most famous patrons during the times of Buddha. So that's how we need to train. It doesn't mean that you have to do it now. It's very difficult. So we have to train ourselves by doing, by practicing aspirational, then engaging bodhicitta. That's how we are able to do, practice. Okay, and now this is the place. There again. What this explains is it explains briefly about ultimate bodhicitta. Then main emphasis will be on the relative bodhicitta. So relative ultimate bodhicitta has three section, three subtopics. What we're supposed to do, two. What we're supposed to do during the practice and the actual practice. So, so here says, before we begin with any practice, we should sit like what we learned earlier, like in the meditation form. Okay, we should sit like this. And then this is all part of meditation. Actually, all these verses you can use as a part of meditation. Meditation. So you sit, half or full vajra, cross leg, keep your backbone straight, spinal cord straight, your shoulder in same level, the right palm on the left, touching these two thumbs, holding 4 inch below navel. Your eyes should be looking from the tip of your nose about 16 inches of distance, and then your mouth, you should touch your upper palate with your tongue gently, so it will there will be space between your lips to breathe normally. Okay, and then just sit like this. Then it says like you can go from 7 times, 3 times, or 21 times 1 time. It's up to you. So 7 times, if you do like, you're starting from like, when you exhale, inhale, it goes, you just visualize, when you inhale, it goes right below 4 inch navel, and hold few seconds. Then you exhale. Then you count 1, then inhale, and hold 4 inch below your navel, then exhale, inhale, exhale, you count 7 times and rest for a while, then 7 times, rest for a while, and 7 times, or when you get used to, you can just do 21 times, one after another, but slowly, steadily, without losing track of your breath. Okay, it may sound very easy, but it is very hard. It's very hard. Yeah, but if you try every day, it becomes easier and easier. it depends on your practice. Okay, so that's what you do. I think we will leave it here. Yeah, it's about an hour. Yeah. So next week, I like to leave it here.
Thank you.
And if you have a question, you can ask me. Is it helpful?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very much.
They found his place in Bangladesh, Atishas. His temple, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Atisha.
So back to Atisha, were these composed by Atisha? No.
What's that?
The mind paintings.
Yeah, actually it comes from
Atisha's?
Atisha.
Like, it
Atisha.
comes
His
from
teaching.
Atisha.
Yes, teaching.
Okay.
He received from Selingpa, Dharma Kirti, Dhamma Rakshita, and Yogin Maitreya. From these three gurus he received. There are many other gurus he received, and then he brought this lineage to Tibet, and he shared with his main three disciples. Three of them, and then they share. Dromtemba was his heir, and he has like three disciples: Putowa, Puchungwa, Chengawa. These three disciples, and then there are many.
Chekawa?
Chengawa. Yeah. Chikawa is the another one.
The last.
Yeah, Chikawa who was not a Kadamba master,
Ah.
but when he heard these two verses, then he had so much of interest. Then he went to, and then he came to know these two verses came from 8 verses compiled by Langri Thampa. And then when you look for a Langri Thampa, but he already passed away, then he managed to meet Sharawa, you know, Sharawa,
Yeah.
then Sarawa, and then he learned under his guidance for 12 years. And then Sarawa is the one who instructed him to compile these 8 verses into 7 points of mind training. Yeah. It's just nice, huh, books?
Yeah.
If more
Yeah.
come, then no more. But I'll be getting next week, so I think it's very much in detail, so you can read through. So this book's for you, okay?
Thank you.
For all of you. Don't put it in the bookshelf, huh?
Well, read.
Okay, just read it. This is no what do you call? Not scheming, huh?
Yeah.
Reading, huh?
Yeah.
Scanning, is it?
No
Yeah.
scan. No scan.
With dedicate Rinpoche.
Room tech. So nom de tam je zepani tam na ye be da na pang je ne je ga na je walan tu ba ye se be so do wa shu. Sisi Kamapa has a tanka painted by Atisha himself.
Oh, really?
Wow.
A room tech. This
Really?
tanka.
What's the tanka of Rinpoche?
Himself.
Oh, of
Exactly
Atisha.
like this.
Self-portrait.
Self-portrait. Look like real Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Indian. Yeah, he's Bangladeshi. He's a Bangala. He's from Bengal.
It made it all the way to Indonesia.
Yeah, Selingpa is the one who brought this teaching. Yeah,
Yeah.
Indonesia. Yeah, it's in Sumatra. There was a Dharma king known as Sirijawa. So he was a Dharma king, and Selingpa was from his place. And if you go to Palembang, place called Palembang, there's his birthplace. You can see it's a big city now. And you will be surprised that Indonesia, if you go, there's so many natives still Buddhists in pockets of Indonesia. Many still. I was so surprised last time when I went there were so many natives Buddhists. And they're also Vajrayanas, it's very, very interesting. But now Buddhism is coming back also in Indonesia because many Vajrayana teachers, Theravadan and Mahayana Buddhism all going to Indonesia. So,
You go there quite often? Once
we
a
have
year?
4 centers.
Oh, 4 centers there.
And there are lamas staying there, big centers. Sometimes we go to Bali also.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Not for teaching, for
Nice.
swimming. Bali.
How far? How far from
We
the
have a
center?
center in Surabaya.
Yeah.
From Surabaya is like half an hour flight.
To
To
Bali?
Bali.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. I
So-
see why you have 4 centers now.
Huh?
I see why you have 4 centers
Not in
there.
Bali.
We just surfing retreat.
Yeah, Bali. Last time they
Surfing
offered a
Yeah.
place, but we didn't took it because then we need to build something. Bali.
Your temple is nearly finished in Indonesia.
Oh yeah, huh?
Your temple is nearly finished in Indonesia.
Jakarta almost we
Jakarta.
built a temple
Mhm.
in Jakarta almost finished, and also in Surabaya we built own. Even now in America it's so different now. Like almost most people knows about monk, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but when you walk in the street, everywhere they know that you are monk, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like before, like 20 years ago, it was not like that.
No.
Like 20 years ago, when I went to LA, people.
Yeah.
In
they-
robes.
Huh? Yeah.
Robes.
One day I was working in the department store,
Yeah.
and it was, I didn't know it was a Halloween day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
I dress. They thought I'm dressing.
Yeah, no one looks twice anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I think it's more familiar. I think now
Yes.
people. Good. I think also like many schools they offer Buddhist teachings, classes many places. And also His Holiness Dalai Lama is so famous, so
Oh, yeah.
everybody knows.
Yeah,
Huh?
question. I have a question.
Yes, okay.
So regarding Chekhawa,
Ah,
there is a story about him that when once somebody hit a stone to a dog, then Chekhawa, the dog didn't get hurt, but Chekhawa got hurt.
Yeah. That's the story. Yeah.
Yeah, and also in relation to the teaching of karma, cause and effect,
What's that?
the teaching in relation to karma, cause and effect,
Oh,
karma,
got it.
legendary.
Uh-huh.
Di dan di toksan togo mindu dapat sembilan.
Candida?
Di legendary konanga so sama tangna ani di kila chigi di dogi poga
Oh.
ani di chekhawa di len bari mari.
Oh.
Ani di toksan legendary ko di konanga so sama tangna di kandes di go to
Why he got hurt is because also one thing, in one sense, that it showed that he's so compassionate, and why he was linked with the dog is also his karma, yeah. And he didn't explain how it happened, why this happened, and also definitely one can say there's he has done something that he had to be hurt, get hurt, So there is a connection. Otherwise, or one can just say that because he want to show, show people that how he was realized, how much he was realized, that he can even take the pain of others, and like Melarapa taking the pain of others. That could be the case.
But my question is like, if that would be the case, then there are so many compassionate beings
Uh-huh.
in the world. If they would have that capacity, why wouldn't they take the gain of other sentient beings?
Yeah, I mean, you are right. I mean, it's a good question, but then, and also, like what Buddha said, we have to how to say, hold that stand. Buddha said that, Dani chola tarbe lamten taba dalara. So liberation depends on you, So you need to act and do it yourself, So if that is possible, but then he will do. We don't have to suffer. Buddha can remove all the suffering, But then one cannot really. That is the line, But then again, in Buddhism, one cannot really say that they're exceptional. There are many exceptional. You know, you have, you know, certain bodhisattvas, they can do so many things that goes totally against what Buddha say. But then they are exceptional. You know? So there are some exceptional cases that, you know, one cannot really, you know, bring them into a line or say that this should happen, this didn't happen, you know. Because exceptional. In English, they're always exceptional. We just came across, yeah, that.
Yeah, we went through the story. Yeah.